Hey, this is Pastor Ryan. Thanks for joining us for this week's Sunday Preview. 1 Peter can be separated into three sections: the salvation of the believer, the submission of the believer, and the suffering of the believer. This covers how we gain our holiness, how we live in harmony with the world around us, and how we need to live in humility with each other. This week, we're taking a deep dive on 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 7. Peter says something about the timeline of future events, as he says, "The end of all things is at hand." The end looks like it's referring to the conclusion of events in our timeline. All things is a universal statement, meaning everything, and is at hand appears to be saying soon or coming quickly. And there are other passages that look like Jesus was to come again shortly, even within the lifetime of the disciples. For example, after Peter's high confession of the faith in Matthew chapter 16, Jesus promised his disciples that some standing here will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Or after describing a number of apocalyptic events in Matthew chapter 24, Jesus summarizes the timing of the events by saying, "So also, when you see all these things, you know that he is near at the very gates," making things even more specific, saying, "This generation will not pass away until all these things take place." And we see another instance of this in 1 Thessalonians 4, where Paul writes, "For this we declare to you by a word from the Lord, that we," looks like he's including himself, "who are alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will not precede those who have fallen asleep." We see another New Testament author, James, writing in chapter 5, "You also be patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand." And finally, we see from Jesus himself in Revelation 22, he says, "Behold, I am coming soon," and he promises to make all things right. So, is the end of all things at hand? Did Jesus' disciples see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom? Did the generation of Jesus' era pass away before all the apocalyptic events took place in Matthew 24? Was Paul not left until the coming of the Lord? Were the sufferers of James 5 left holding the bag? And is Jesus' promise to come soon an empty one? On Sunday, we're going to look at these passages, and we're going to build a framework for how the disciples viewed the second coming of Christ. And then we're going to give reasons for why God would have us expect his return. And why does it appear the Lord is so slow to return? Can we look with hope and expectation? As Peter writes, the end of all things is at hand. Thanks for joining us for the Sunday Preview. We hope this spurs on your thinking and prepares you for our time together on Sunday morning. God's blessings on your week.